Hello everyone, we're back. It's the Preppers Fireside on a Sunday. Joining me tonight is Andy, the Bombardier. How you doing, Andy?
Yeah, good mate, yourself?
I'm excellent, thank you very much. Brian, Scottish Prepper 73. How are you doing this evening?
All good, mate. All good.
All good. Ready for a fun and interesting evening, I'm sure. And joining us again, it's becoming a regular spot. I'm going to have to put him in the intro at some point, is Alan, the world survivalist. How you doing, Alan?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad at all. Sorry about the last minute. Quick, get in here. We've got a slot.
That's the way I usually join these things.
Yeah. It feels so wanted.
There's nobody else available. We've searched everybody else. This guy's you'll do.
Sorry, guys. It's only Alan left. Not joking. Not joking. So we've got the disclaimer under across the bottom. It is one of our prepper scenarios this time. Loads of people in the chat already. Great to see you all. Just so you know, we are going to be drawing the bug out raffle at the end of this episode. I've turned it off on the shop, but if you still want a ticket, you've got time to get it. You can get it through putting £5 per ticket into Just Giving or into the PayPal accounts that are linked below. Just let me know, and before we draw it at the end, I'll check if there's any more names to add to the wheel. Brian's frozen already, so we'll play for time until he gets his 50p connection working again. Somebody sort him out with a Starlink. So yeah, that's the bug out prizes that are on offer. I'll just show you there quickly. That's the packet that Lee's put together. The brown box is actually a stove that you can burn twigs and all sorts of stuff in as well. There's water filters in there. It's well over £250 plus worth of stuff up for grabs. So links are below for that, and I'm sure Miss Worm will pop them in there as well. Right, so let's get down to business. I nearly broke into song. Yeah, don't sing it. Copyright strike. Apparently, you get copyright strikes now for badly singing songs. Even it's ridiculous. So the first thing we will do is play the Miss Worm disclaimer that you'll read across the bottom. So silence, please, for the worm.
Right, listen up, you lot. What you are about to watch is a thought experiment. We've dragged together the finest minds in the country, and Brian, to see how they would cope in different scenarios. These scenarios are not real, and these people may not even exist anywhere other than in your own mind. So pull your panties up and get a grip. Remember, there's no need to panic. It's not real. Yet.
There we go. There we go. So it is a thought experiment. Anyway, if somebody talks about blowing somebody else's brains out in the middle of the street, it's not real. It's all fantasy. It's all make-believe. So, calm down. Let's set the scenario for the lads. Are you all paying attention, gentlemen? And we will set your scenario again with the wonderful Miss Worm.
The year is 2032. And after years of political instability, economic collapse, and multiple national security crises, a coalition of hard-line political leaders has taken over the United Kingdom. They dissolve Parliament, suspend elections, and declare a permanent national emergency. The new regime, called the One Party, promises stability, safety, and a return to British greatness, but at the cost of civil liberties, press freedom, and personal autonomy. With armed patrols guarding the streets and all communications monitored, how will the country react? More importantly, how will you?
There we go. So we're going to start just before this all comes into power. So it's basically we've had an economic crash. We've had a couple of recessions in that period of time, and the UK is pretty much crumbling. It's never been a better time to be a prepper, especially when it comes to economy and stuff like that. However, the usual disillusion with party politics and stuff like that means very few people are turning out for the election, and of course the inevitable happens.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can see his face in just a second. You can see how Andy has reacted.
Brilliant.
Landslide, and then some.
Yeah, nice to see some change going on. This
result has taken a lot of pundits by surprise, and we see when looking at the British press that it's treated very differently depending on which side of the political spectrum the outlet positions itself.
It was too spread.
They're all out for themselves. Not really.
That are heavily looking, to me, to be extremely right-wing and to ignore the rule of law.
I think it's a high time we got rid of the Conservatives, so I think it's very good.
There we go. That was Brian in a wig for the last one. Yeah.
That was Hawkins. Don't lie.
I was going to say Hawkins.
So this the one party has come to power, and basically as soon as they've got in, the forums, the YouTube channels, everything is blowing up with rampant doomsday theories and rumours about corruption within this party. So the first question out to you guys, based on politics and circumstances at this stage, most preppers have realised this is a really bad thing for the country and the things they're actually going to put into place. Sounds very familiar. Anyway, based on that and the corruption in this party, are you changing anything? Are you increasing your preps or anything like that at this stage, or are you just at a sit back and watch stage at this stage? So we'll start with you, Andy.
Yeah, mate, I think I would. I think I would. I wouldn't go mental, and I wouldn't have like a daisy chain of trolleys in Tesco. But I would go and stock up on perishable things that would eat first, to make things easier when the inevitable happens. So I would definitely amp it up, but I wouldn't be going mental because I've got quite a lot of stuff anyway. But I thought this was I didn't think this was real life. I thought this was a scenario.
Shush, this is scenario. This is just based.
I didn't know Jeremy Corbyn's party had a name.
It certainly explains a lot. Hawkins has been gone for a week, and you managed to get him on camera at the last bit there.
He protests.
There
That's not me.
That
Guys in the chat, please feel free to get involved. As I ask these guys questions, feel free to answer it from your own perspective, anything you would do, and we will go through them systematically for each section as well. So, Alan, based on politics and circumstances, do you increase your plans, survival plans, prepping, anything like that?
Yeah. Anything that's localized to your situation, you should always take a little bit of an inventory look as to what it is you've got. So if I genuinely believed there was a political party now in power that was, completely totalitarian in nature, and it was completely against everything I believe in, and it was going to take away my freedoms, there's certain things I would immediately stock up on. So, I'd be looking at things like fuel, some sort of better weight, maybe some radio equipment and things like that. If I was to be somebody who had firearms licenses and shotguns and things like that, I would make sure that I maximized what was on my ticket that I could legally purchase at that point. Mm-hmm. If I had crossbows or archery or anything like that, I would buy as much of that stuff as possible. All the things that I think a totalitarian government would now take away from me, I would stock up, and I would even think about cashing it. I would start moving stuff around, so that's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be stocking up so much on things like food and water at this point, because until that became obvious to me that was going to be an issue, like a supply and demand issue or something, I would ignore that stuff for now, and I would focus on the stuff I was thinking they were going to take.
Yes, 100%. Good point. Brian, same question. Based on the political circumstances at the moment, are you taking any action?
If they've indicated in advance what their plans are, then you would have to base your actions on that. So have they actually said they're going to do all this horrible shit that they've at the start?
All rumours, but it's a lot of trusted YouTubers that you see saying these things, and that, obviously there's one extreme to the other of the rumours, but yeah, basically turning around saying this is the Red Army.
I would be deleting my YouTube account and be coming off of all social media for a start. That's the first thing I would do. I would try and scrub and erase as much as possible, if it is even possible, any electronic presence I've got that would be negatively viewed. I would come out of the union that I'm in, and as Alan indicated, anything that was left-leaning, anything that would be potentially draw attention to myself, I would ditch with a pace. And most of the things of these type of governments would try and control at the start would be any means to defend yourself, should you have to do so, and any means of controlling the mass media. So you can't trust the media anymore. You can't have a voice, and anything that goes bang or twang, you need to hide.
Right, so everyone in the Discord that thinks, oh, we've got some great leadership here, Brian's just going to ditch you at the first opportunity. Discord's gone. It's like, I'm not helping you guys.
In that scenario, mate, I'd be off.
He's
I
gone.
think you'd have to.
Disappeared. He's disappeared. Miss Worm, would he be stocking up on canoes? Asking for Alan, I'm sure. I think he's got enough at the moment.
You can never have enough.
Never have enough. I don't vote, can't trust any, says Elusive Dartmoor. Make sure I keep up with changes in laws, contribute to local community caches, says Philip Hull. Very proactive there. If that did happen, we're all food. I would be stocking up on movie/TV content as well as food and stuff. Serious old hand tools. There you go. If we thought they were totalitarian, would it not be worth just moving away? Well, nobody's put it there as an option at the moment, so we shall see. Scottish Preparedness 73 and World Survivalist for Scottish Parliament. There you go. I've seen the people in there. They'll take anyone. They're all right. Brian, us chaps at GCHQ have a full room devoted to you, says Horace Rumpel.
But what interesting reading it would be.
Yeah, what interesting reading indeed. That's a whole other episode. Get some number 10 cans of curry powder for the revolting mushroom and gammon curry made in community cooking pots. There you go. Spices are always good. Brian, would you keep your Meshtastic and comms?
Yes, that's a good point. I'd keep Meshtastic.
And radios? You'd keep all them?
Yes.
That's not something you'd ditch, yeah. Cool.
PMRs and that kind of stuff I would keep.
So we've still got him. He's not thrown his phone away quite yet. We're still living in rule of law, so hopefully he's not just like flushed his phone on day one of the election.
No, but I think if you know they're going to be looking at people and they're going to be cracking down across the board, people that have got an independent thought, as in preppers who are looking ahead and trying to plan ahead, you're not wanted. You're the enemy.
We're probably all on a list anyway somewhere.
That's it.
Already.
Watch for the one party. Well, it doesn't take long before these rumours start coming to light, and they start announcing all their different policies. All of them just seem ridiculous and very subduing to the community, and you're just trying to keep up with all the media.
Let's play cut 318. This clip has been seen tens of millions of times. Play cut 318.
Citizens of the UK, the One Party would like to thank you all for the trust you and bestowed upon us. One of our key selling points for our campaign was tough on crime. I'm here today to announce that starts now, with the reinstatement of capital punishment and a complete overhaul of our justice system. This will allow for more flexible powers from our new justice system halls, including fast-tracked processing, promise made, promise delivered.
So that is a separate issue that I will talk about, where in the UK, 30 people a day are arrested.
So there you go. Even Charlie Kirk's getting on board. Thank you, Charlie, for being a cameo. He's going to send me a bill now. But yeah, so it's basically they've announced literally overnight capital punishment is now coming into effect for more serious crimes, and they have basically overhauled the justice system. So it's not a magistrates and a crown court now. They're justice halls, and you literally go in and come out all on the same day from I've been caught, I'm going in, I come out with a sentence. There's no due process, there's no like 2 weeks, there's no appeals or anything like that. That's what's in place now. With new super prisons to support them as well, which are under construction. So First question, I suppose, is how do you feel about these new measures coming in? Because some might see them in a positive light. Andy?
I'd be all right, mate, at this point, because what I would have done beforehand, I would have changed all my things to my name to Hawkins. So my driver license would say Hawkins. All my email addresses would say Hawkins. I changed my name by default. So when they came for me, they'd actually go to where Hawkins is and take him. Because no one knows what he looks like, he won't be able to defend himself, would he?
But we do now.
Yeah, but you do now, yeah.
Yeah, blue hair, long, loads of piercings.
I suppose
look for the nail varnish.
So the
nipple rings.
The capital punishment one there is interesting because that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because if you implement it, then you're open to the same risks as what the public are. So if you're, I don't know what one of the rules would be, but if you break one of those rules and you're in power, then surely you would be in the same position as us, potentially. Yeah. But to be fair, mate, I think a large portion of the public, mate, would probably be in favour of that. In fairness,
yeah, okay.
I don't think that would be an extreme viewpoint for a lot of people in the country. Definitely for certain things.
Yeah. Alan, how do you feel about these new measures that they've just announced?
Yeah, just like what Andy says, I think it depends on what those measures
we both happy Hawkins, Alan.
Yeah, I imagine it would be initially for the things that everybody agrees for, like, murder and serious rape and paedophiles and things like that, although that's never been a capital crime. But I can imagine why doing that would get people on board with them. But it is a bit of a slippery slope, that. And I was actually thinking when you mentioned about going dark, I wouldn't go dark, but I would certainly start regulating how I was communicating. But what I'd maybe start doing now is I'd probably make a shadow account. I'd have an online presence that I could do everything to try and be anonymous on, just so I could get feelers as to what's going on. Eventually there's going to be some sort of underground movement, or you can get a little bit of an insight into what's going on without putting yourself at risk. But it's always concerning when a country suddenly changes the rules, like, completely, because it goes from we will never do this to we are now doing this. The only example I can think of is the sort of what was it they called it, the Night of Daggers or something in Nazi Germany in the 30s.
Oh, the night of the long knives.
Yeah, where they just suddenly decided that capital punishment wasn't just, it was also just for political people and other, and they just went around and basically killed all their enemies. So it's only a step away from that.
I think like what Alan was saying there, Mike, if that is the first thing they implement, you can see how steep the road is then going to be and what else is going to be implemented. If that's the first thing that comes straight in out the bat, is that rule, then you can see how fast it's going to go downhill in more extreme measures.
It's a red flag. Sure.
Yeah, massive red flag. Brian, how do you feel about the new measures? I mean, these lads have mentioned, like, some people might agree with, especially capital punishment and stuff like that, but the fact that you could be caught, arrested, thrown through a system all within 24 hours and then sentenced, surely that's not going to get, there's going to be lots of innocent people.
The sentence I'm broadly for. The sentencing I'm very much against. So if that was ever brought in, people should have every chance to prove their innocence. And then the ultimate sanction, if it was a thing, should be enacted. However, I think it would get a lot of traction in the UK at the moment. I genuinely do think it would. But it's a very slippery slope. And in principle, I mean, if you do drink Coca-Cola and they're bringing in the death sentence, then I'm broadly for it. I don't want to say never.
I liked when Alan said about a shadow presence online. You'd see this Scottish masked prepper that drinks 27 Pepsis per video. Brian, the secret's out. Right, so at this stage as well, what's your outgoing message? How are you going to be warning friends and family? Are you going to be on the Discord? Are you going to be recommending other things to other people? We'll start the opposite way around here. Brian, are you going to be warning friends and family at this stage?
When I said I'm reducing my online presence, that would be publicly. I would still be watching and taking in information, but I would not be active like this. I would not have a YouTube channel, but I would still be watching. I would warn people one-to-one, family and stuff, but I would not put something that would have an electronic trail to me at all under these circumstances.
Right. So, pigeon carrier. Messages via watch for Brian's pigeons coming in. Alan, would you start to warn friends and family? Would you start to try and warn the public? Still be a public representation on YouTube and stuff?
I don't think I would be public about it. I'm always a bit hesitant when it comes to political stuff anyway, from a public point of view. You know, friends and family kind of know where I sit politically. I've never wanted to be part of any kind of political party or anything like that, purely because, you know, I can't get behind the idea of just supporting one direction of thought or political view. So my views would already have been known up to the lead up of this political party getting into power, you know, so I would kind of be in a particular camp anyway. And I would probably still hint to certain family and friends, well, take a look at what they're doing now. But I would be cautious about it because, you know, it's the old, I don't know if you guys have ever read a book called the Gulag Archipelago, which was all about, you know, a guy going through the Gulag system, and that started off as political distancing, where friends and family started, basically grassing each other up based on early sort of beliefs, and before know it, you know,
we seen that during COVID, Alan, didn't we?
Yeah, that's my exact point. So we know that
the neighbours were neighbours were more than happy to grass on each other.
Yeah,
if they felt morally superior.
So if you're out the back door saying to your neighbour, you know, it's unbelievable this totalitarian government that's taking place, who's to say that neighbour or the next one down hasn't overheard you and is now, you know, they'll use that as their bargaining chip should they find themselves in trouble. Oh, well, don't arrest me and put me in the gulag. That guy down there just says the other day that you're an arsehole, you know, so I would be
get that a lot.
Andy? Are you warning friends and family? Are you getting a message out there, or even risking putting a video up?
No, I don't think I would put videos or anything up, mate. But I think I would. The only people I would be talking to was you guys. I don't think I definitely wouldn't be. I wouldn't be talking to neighbours or anybody else like that. Because, like, say, I know people who were more than happy to shot people for using the hose pipe when the hose pipe ban's on. So I definitely wouldn't be saying anything untoward. In that instance, and I think I would go back to, I think if anybody wanted to talk about it, I think I would just go back to face. I don't think I would do anything electronic anymore at that point.
All the more reason to get in touch with other preppers on the Discord in your zones and start having zone meets, because you start to know these people.
I think pleading political ignorance is actually a good defense mechanism for something like this. If you plead complete ignorance to it, like you don't know any better, if somebody asks you a question, you're just like, I don't follow politics, don't know what it's all about. At least you're in a neutral territory then, and the focus isn't on you, but it can be hard to do, you know.
Definitely. Sometimes it's hard not to speak out. Amphia says, will the super prisons be next to William Unit 731 Gates synthetic meat production factories? Potentially, that's a future. Mike, how likely do you guys think this could happen, or what could cause it? How likely? Unlikely, I think, to the level that we're going to be going to, but it's not impossible, and it's probably not the most impossible scenario we can prep for. There's a lot more chance of this than zombies coming, put it that way. Anyone have any thoughts to add to that question?
You've got to make people want it and clamour for it. So if you can make them fear of an event or a series of events, they will ask for the very thing that we're scared of now. So if you can stoke the fear, then you will get the result that you want, and people will drive to their own funeral.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely a danger of it creeping. I mean, I don't think it's likely to happen like this, like a political election takes place and suddenly you've got Stalin. But the creep of totalitarianism is something that happens right now anyway. There is a difference between authoritarian and totalitarian, and we already have a little bit of authoritarian going on, and we've got little bits of totalitarian thought happening in this country as well. You know, it's the whole woke thing is kind of totalitarian in nature, and that was creeping into mainstream media, education, and political discussion all the time. It's calmed down a little bit now. Pendulum's swinging a little bit, but it was always there, and you know, I was aware of it. I'm still aware of it. That's always been a concern for me.
I think the thing that worries me the most about this is, I don't know whether fortunate or privileged is the right word, but I've been fortunate enough to go to countries where these things have been enforced, and it has been totalitarian. And the thing that scares you most about is, mate, once a freedom gets taken away from you, you very, very extreme cases ever get that freedom back once it's taken off you. So once this came into effect, and a successive government coming in would see all the power that stemmed from, why would they give it back? It's the same instance, mate, of when you had the poll tax, when the poll tax came into effect, and all the anger that caused. And everybody on the other side of the aisle was saying, yep, it's wrong, we're going to get rid of it. As soon as they came into power, they didn't reverse it, because now you want all that money coming in. Yeah. So why would this be any different, mate, when you've got everybody under the foot and you've got everything to a strict control line? Even if somebody else did come in, why would they want to change it? That's the scariest thing about it. Once it comes in, and like in other countries that I've been to, once that freedom gets taken away from you, you don't ever get it back.
Yeah. Yeah, scary thoughts. New City Prepper says, so they're going down the Judge Dredd route, judge, jury, and executioner. Exactly.
I don't mind that. I'd 100%. I'll be a judge.
Yeah,
one of those
as long as you're a judge, yeah, that's it. You can't ride around your Lordgiver naked though, Andy. I'm just throwing that out there. In a totalitarian system, how long would it be before dissenters were accused of crimes that would lead to capital punishment? Yeah, well, there you go. Exactly. It's the preludes to that, indeed. Would be like Spartacus, except I'm Hawkins. No, I'm Hawkins. No, I'm Hawkins. We need to do that scene. We need to do that as a video scene at the next prepper meet in Scotland.
Do we have to bring the blonde wigs though?
Yeah, and Jimmy Savile tracksuits. American Man B2 says, can't you buy L rifles in the UK? Are they banned as well? No, you can, and it's not. Firearms aren't banned in the UK. They're just licensed and they're just controlled. So you'll be surprised what people can have in the UK.
Air rifles are restricted in Scotland, so you have to have a license.
They're licensed in Scotland, yeah. In England, they're not yet, and it's under a certain power as well.
12 foot-pounds.
Do we think that the lessons in history show that when totalitarian governments come in, they always have their zealots who would sell out family members?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, there you go.
I'd sell Hawkins in a flash. If somebody come to me and said to me, Andy, we'll make you one of the judges. You could be Judge Hardy. Tell us where Hawkins lives. Someone like jump in the car.
I'll take you.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Gary Crawford, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. He said, totalitarian. What does that mean? It means no challenge to it, basically. Total control, as it were. So that's how I read it as, anyway. So.
There is a bit of a difference between totalitarian, authoritarian, and dictatorship. Just it's just sort of briefly. Saddam Hussein is a dictator. You know, he's a dictator he was a dictator. He didn't have complete control. He had mostly control, but because it was broken into sectarian fractions, they had control over certain areas. But he was a one-man dictator who controlled the army. Authoritarian is a government that looks to control economic situations and the general political status, but it's not entirely forcing things like absolute control of speech or anything like that. Totalitarian is the absolute everything.
North Korea is what.
So it's North Korea. I think Tajikistan is one. There's only actually a couple of places. China technically isn't a totalitarian country. You know, that's not a totalitarian regime. Iran slightly. You know, but they are quite rare actually, luckily. But obviously, the Soviet Union was totalitarian, so was Nazi Germany.
Right. There you go. So, I mean, that's pretty much what we're looking at here. But, you know, it's just a thumbnail. It's just to get you to click. That's the answer. So, when you're searching through and looking for more information on this, you've also started to notice YouTube accounts no longer there that used to be there. And the people that you used to follow on YouTube that talk a lot about politics and stuff like that, and talk a lot about fighting against the authorities, suddenly are not there anymore, and no presence or word is found of them. So this has started happening over the last few months, and we've got another announcement.
The One Party is pleased to announce the £48 billion investment in our police and military merge, allowing for the One Party government forces becoming the most elite security force in the world. Citizens from the age of 18 will be obligated to enroll for mandatory training. Any citizen choosing to remain after 2 years, compulsory service will be entitled to increases in all government rations. Secure UK. Promise made, promise delivered.
There you go. The promise made, promise delivered line is just a coincidence, I assure you. But yeah, so basically what's happening now is they're merging the police force and the military into one security force, national level security force. So with that in mind, what's your thinking as this announcement's made? Your initial first thoughts will go for Andy.
In my view, mate, that there will be an extreme amount of tension merging that two, because in that instance, mate, who's in charge? Is the battery commander in charge of your unit? Is the chief inspector in charge of your unit? Is it a desk sergeant?
The appointed one-party commissar is in charge.
In theory, mate, I don't know how well that would work, and I can see there being an extreme amount of conflict between the two forces. Because naturally, mate, we don't work well together anyway.
Yeah.
Historically, we don't work well together. They have, well, to be fair, mate, we both have a vastly different set of rules of how we deal with problems.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would work well.
Well, at this stage, how it's coming about is pretty much anyone opposed to it is disappearing into the justice halls, and that's it. Anyone high-ranking who's opposed to it is disappearing into justice halls. And when it comes to the troops and the actual police officers and stuff, they're on board because they know that there's no other way, sort of thing for them. We're talking about, we've had 2 recessions, everything's rationed at this stage. That's the only way they're feeding their family. So that's how it's starting to come about.
So in that thing that said you do 2 years service, was it?
When you turn 18, you've got a mandatory 2 years, so it's like conscription, basic.
So is that from 18 up to what, 40 or whatever, that you'll be conscripted?
2 years. You've got to do 2 years service. So 18 to 20 is mandatory, and you're trained, and you can be called up at any time. Mm-hmm. But after the 2 years, if you choose to stay on, then you get double rations and stuff like that, and all sorts of perks, trying to push them into the career of it.
If that was the case, I would assume that they would come for guys like me first. Then, if that's the case, if they're going to try and bolster numbers, I would imagine the guys they were going to go for as guys who previously served. I would imagine. Possibly.
So, I'll come back to you on that one in a second, Andy. Alan, what's your first thoughts when that's announced?
Do you know, it would be interesting if this happened in the UK for a specific reason. The reason being that the mechanism we have in place as a constitutional monarchy prohibits this. Okay, the military aren't actually run by Parliament or political party. The Prime Minister isn't in charge of the military. He is in a sense, but in reality, the Commander-in-Chief is always the monarch.
2032, he is now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with the police force as well. The police force in the UK is also a police force that runs by consent. That's why they're deliberately not armed in this country, because they're deliberately seen as a non-militia. So the second you join the police with the military, it becomes a militia. So that's a militia force. And usually what would probably happen at something like this, if the monarchy didn't intervene and somehow dissolve parliament, which they could technically do, if they didn't do that, I would imagine the next stage now would be for a new force to be created. It might be a merger of the military and the police, but they would call it something different. And this is kind of how the Nazis had their brown coats. You know, the casual police force of Germany was disbanded at that point. And then
it's the one security force, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, massively. It'd be interesting just to see what angle that would go down. Would they just get rid of the monarchy? Would they do the whole Russian thing, behead them and be done with it and take over? You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Brian, your first thoughts on the on that one?
A lot of concerning bits in that. One of them being rationing for a start. So, from a prepping point of view, if people are being rationed and you're dipping into your stocks and people see you and it's snitch time, you could end up in one of the halls of justice for cracking into your preps.
Yeah.
So that worried me the most out of all of that.
The state might also now think, the state now might also think that you don't have the right to hoard that stuff. It should be equally distributed, like in some sort of Soviet sort of socialist way of thinking.
To put it in perspective, there's been a few rationing things that have come in over the last couple of years before they've even got to power, and that's just on fuel and resources like that. And people at work have got priority, and then obviously first responders or after that. So there's been slight rationing, but not to the extreme. But the fact he's offering it as an incentive tells you there should be more coming.
Yeah.
Right. Anyone with previous training receives a letter, hits Andy's doormat, and it's offering 1.5 times whatever your current salary is, or whatever your last current salary was, to return to service for domestic security. Totally optional.
Yep, I'm going.
You go.
Yeah, 1,000,000%, mate. And the reason why we'll go, it's not even to do based on the money stuff. When we did that one about the one I did where I was riding a tiger, I can't remember what that scenario was now. Was it CME? The CME one?
I don't know. It ended up as you riding a tiger. That's all I remember.
With a flamethrower.
Yeah. So it would be purely same as that CME scenario, where it was all for me anyway. It was all about gathering intelligence of what was actually going on the ground. The best place, mate, for me to be at that moment, and for us as a group, is to be on the inside, to find out what the situation's actually like on the inside. I'm not going to find anything staying up here and talking to you two guys. Do you know what I mean? I need to be on the inside. I need to find out what's actually going on and what level of activism's happening on the inside. How many actually believe it? How many are just doing it to feed the family? How many actually believe in the cause? So for me, 100%, I would go inside purely for an intelligence purpose, mate, to find out what are things actually like on the ground, and also what is that promise of 1.5 times salary true? So then I could tell lads, if it is true, is that another lie? Is that something else I could sew in to the discomfort of people wanting to join? Do you know what I mean? So for me, I would definitely 100%, I would go on the inside purely for the intelligence purposes and for all the stuff I could learn.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Neither of you guys get a letter. Forced national service in the UK is pretty much what this is saying. So how do you think this would be received by the general public, Brian?
Poorly, given my opinion of them at the moment. I struggle to motivate my teenage kids when they were young teenagers to get out of bed. Never mind to march on a parade ground or jump over an assault course. And they're not greatly different from the rest of them. So, yeah, I don't think it would be greatly received. Although if you're controlling the mass media, you manage to demonise some sector of the population. You know, there'll be somebody that's the ever do a grey t-shirt as the enemy, unite against them, get extra rations. It'll be flogged in a way that makes it attractive.
Cool. Well, Well, the next question was how would they enforce it, but I suppose you're making it enticed rather than like punishment there. Alan, national service is pretty much what they're saying here. How do you think that would be received, and how could they make sure it's done?
I don't think it would be received well at all, pretty much for the same reasons Brian stated. We don't really come from a country that has a great history of national service. Personally, I don't believe in conscription anyway, because you just end up with an army full of people who don't want to be there. And to them, it's just like a sentence they have to get through rather than a volunteer army, which is always better. They could enforce it the same way they do in countries like Israel. There's only certain people who are exempt from national service in Israel, like ultra-Orthodox Jews and things like that. And even they, right now, are getting pushback on them because they refuse to be served. So it would simply be a case of imprisonment, or worse, if you went down the totalitarian route here, imprisoning your entire family, or taking away the only benefit that you possibly had, so they could enforce it that way. I'd be hesitant about sort of joining anything. Like, kind of like Andy, my temptation would be to join them. But like, remember that movie Equilibrium with the clerics?
Yes. Yeah.
My temptation would be to join them to become a cleric to get the inside view. But then you have the added danger of you're under a lot of scrutiny as well, because just like in the Soviet Union, the KGB officer is watching the next KGB guy, who's watching the next KGB guy, who's watching the next. It's a never-ending circle of everybody spying on each other, and you could also end up in a position where you're forced to do something terrible down the line, like the SS were, or
drink cola.
It could be anything. Could be just as bad as that, yeah. And you'd maybe have to justify your actions a few years down the line if something came out of it. So, yeah.
Cool. Andy, the national service that's pretty much going into place, how do you think it would be received, and how could they enforce that?
I think, mate, it would be. I think it would depend on how. I agree with Alan, mate. I don't think it's. I don't think it's well received at all, and I don't think it's a good idea. With that being said, mate, if the country, it depends how bad of a state the country is in. Because if you can't feed your family, no matter how bad the aspect of conscription looks, if your family's starving and someone's offering you 1.5 times the rations, 1.5 a time what your last salary was, people are going to do it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Desperate people may take desperate measures, as the old saying goes. So it might not be received. I agree with Al, mate. It might not be received well in principle, but if that's how, if things are that bad, mate, I can see people jumping to do it.
I agree. Right, so messages about fighting back start appearing on the Discord groups and on the dark corners of the internet that you're still looking for information. And zones have started making plans to band together at single locations if this starts to get any worse, and starting to put plans in place. Are you involved in any of them plans, Andy?
Well, if I did what I said, mate, and I joined, they wouldn't want me, would they?
Well, you've decided to join, and the response you've had is, I'll just give you this because I was going to say it afterwards, but before you answer this, you're to report to the new one-party training facility in Harrogate, North Yorkshire, and you're not to take any digital devices with you whatsoever, no phone or anything. That's the letter you've received.
And no tigers.
No tigers, did it?
No kit, basically. They don't want anyone turning up with kit bags. Anything you turn up with that's not just a set of clothes will be confiscated.
This is when you start regretting buying that extra wide phone.
I think I would be going down. I would definitely maybe going down, because I've got ex-military friends who live in. Saying that, would I trust them? I would definitely go. I would be going down beforehand, mate, before my date, and I would be stashing stuff down there. Right. I would definitely have a cache somewhere. I wouldn't be following that letter to the team. Well, you'd have to, wouldn't you? I mean, I would rock up clean fatigue with nothing on me, but that doesn't mean to say I wouldn't have something in Harrogate somewhere.
So you're still going based on that?
Yeah, I'd still go.
Still going? Okay, cool. Good to know. So the message is about fighting back. Are you saying anything to these, or are you just staying out of all of that because you know you're going in? Or are you letting people know that what you're doing?
It would depend, mate, wouldn't it, on how much I trust them. If it was just random guys from my community, I wouldn't be telling them anything.
No, if it, I mean, within like the UK Prepper Network or the Discord and people like us, basically.
Oh yeah, I would let you guys know what I was doing and what I was up to. But I wouldn't be telling like my ethnic or the wider community.
I thought you were going to say Hawkins.
No, that's what I do. When I want to turn up, I'd go, look, everything you see online from a guy called Hawkins, that's actually me. So all of that stuff.
Poor Hawkins.
Alan, messages about fighting back start appearing on the Discord, and zones have started making plans to band together in single locations if it gets really bad or it starts to get really worse. Are you involved with this?
You know, I think I would be involved with this because at this point you're either with a resistance or you're not. It would be very difficult just to stay passively in the background and just see what unfolds, because those kind of people who just try to stay out of it don't tend to fare well, because one or the other is going to push on them, or both of them, and they're kind of trapped in the middle. With the shadow accounts and stuff that I would have made by this point, I would have got feelers as to what was going on, and I think I would probably now start going down the route of joining some sort of resistance. In fact, this is an entirely made-up scenario, so I'd be the leader of this resistance, and I would take it upon myself to get this organised.
Sub-leader,
El Chapo,
the Zone 7 daddy,
In fact,
Brian,
my answer, Mike. I'm not joining anyone. I'm going to lead the Tiger Battalion.
Well, so Brian, Alan's going to be the Zone 7 daddy. Does that make you the mummy? Are you getting involved in this?
It sounds a bit sinister. No, I'll pass on that one. No, I don't think there's enough information to do anything but die horribly, because given the lack of trust that's been generated in purpose by mass media, by the government, by your neighbours, you don't know who to trust, you don't know who to talk to. This could all be an elaborate ploy to get everybody to join the resistance, to squash it in one fell swoop. So I would still be at the watch and see stage.
Watch and see. Right. Okay. Well, you are watching and you are seeing.
For the new government initiative to tackle knife crime, from Tuesday the 16th, all citizens of the UK will be subject to the new curfew of 8 p.m. Only certain key workers and authorities will be exempt.
No. I can't believe they think they can get away with this. First, our access to online. No, our literal freedom. Can they even do this? Someone has to step in, right?
I mean, seriously, do they know how crazy this sounds? It's a social anxiety nightmare. Chat. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm not doing this, are you?
So, curfews in place. This is starting to look like the things we least wanted. I'll come to you last, Andy, because it's going to be slightly different for you now going through this.
No curfew for me, baby.
Oh, it's worse. So, Brian, curfew in place to tackle crime. It's a good idea, right? No one out after 8 p.m. means there's less crime. So are you on board with this one as well? Still sit back listening, not worrying?
It implies you've got a choice. So you don't have a choice.
There's always a choice, Brian.
Yeah, and there's...
Stand up and be counted. Join Daddy, Zone 7 Daddy.
It's like a badly acted version of Scum. I'm the daddy now. Honestly.
Oh, Brian's left. He doesn't want to be. Andy's left.
Andy's left.
Doesn't want to be. He's added himself. Oh, he's gone. What are you doing? Okay, we'll leave him to do that. Carry on, Brian. Sorry.
I would comply and watch and listen and see, because unless you've got some sort of, it's all very well having an organised resistance. They don't control the media. They don't control the munitions. They've got no command and control. They don't have numbers. Yeah, I wouldn't be signing up for that car crash at the moment. I'll comply with the 8 o'clock curfew. Mate, I'll be 52 in November. 8 o'clock's a late night for me now. I'll be sitting with the pipe slippers and the 16 cans of Pepsi Max. They see me through to 10 in the morning.
Well, there you go. That's how Brian's reacting. Alan, curfew's in place. So how's this affecting your thought patterns?
Yeah, I mean, I like Brian, I would comply with the curfews because I wouldn't want to get arrested. But I've always had this. I'm very, very much against having my movements controlled or my thoughts controlled or anything like that. Even during the pandemic when there was.
You're not married then, Alan?
Well, not all restrictions then, but yeah, even during the pandemic when the lockdowns happened, for me, I wasn't allowed to go in the woods. I wasn't allowed to go camping in a field by myself, and for some magical reason, and I took great exception to that then, and ignored it, to be honest, because
look at this shit.
No,
honestly.
Sorry, they're all slating Brian's age.
I'm being heckled by the Uncle Fester fucking fan club. Get fucked.
You do take some pelters.
Honestly. I wouldn't mind. I don't remember many body beautifuls being at the Scottish or the Midlands prepper meets.
They're the ones that didn't turn up.
They're not on.
Yeah, that's bad enough they didn't turn up. Don't even get me going there.
Sorry, Alan. Brian's heckling.
No. I mean, I would still now be more inclined to be part of some sort of resistance. I think it would be bigger by this point. I think a lot of people would be objecting to this. The problem is resistance in the UK is not an easily organised thing. It's not something we commonly do. And the UK government, the intelligence services of the UK, the one thing they're incredibly good at is infiltrating organised groups. You've seen that in Northern Ireland. Basically, everybody in Northern Ireland was a bloody informant. That's just how that worked. And that was an organised, proper resistance group to their cause. I think it would be bigger though. Something like this, there would be a bigger thing going on by this point.
There's lots of stirrings that you don't have to dig far on the dark web to find people saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to go and take down this, we're going to mess up these wind turbines and stuff like that. So you're seeing little bits of stuff everywhere. Andy, you've turned up to Harrogate, North Yorkshire, what used to be the Army Foundation College. Big, massive gates going through. A lot more security on it than there used to be. Lots of razor wire and actual armed guards there and stuff like that. And you've come through and you just feel like you've been treated like a regular recruit again. It's back to very basics. But there's an emphasis on crowd control and use of lethal force in bursts, almost culling, as part of this training. So, are you still playing along at this stage?
Yep.
Yeah. Anything more? Or are you just getting trained right now? Are you stepping out doing anything yourself?
No, it's like, because you said that I'm there for however long the training is, Anna. And so how long did you say it was? 2 weeks?
No, well, it's a 2-week refresher for you, yeah.
2 refresher, right? So all I need to do, mate, is last the 2 weeks. And the mindset I would have, because like I said, the reason that I was there, if I was on one of these Cullen detachments for whatever, I would just ping off to left or right and switch fire. Just because I've been trained to do doesn't mean I have to actually do, does it? No one's going to know where effectively my shots were placed. So I could plough it into a tree, I could plough it into a bush, no one would know. Yeah. So that would be my mindset going in there. You have to be in the mindset of get over all the nasty shit they want you to do, purely to get into a place where you can then start doing what you want to do.
Yeah,
and get into the position where I can gain stuff for
other
people. Do you know where I'm treating? And I appreciate, right, mate. This is I appreciate this is an extreme end of the scenario. But have you seen the film Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, where it's about taking out Hitler?
Yes.
That would be my mindset, mate, going in. That would be the process of, because not every single person, mate, who's went back in there is going to be exactly what they want. There's going to be other people like me
Yeah, just makes you more successful. What was he, Colonel Staffen, something like that, wasn't it?
Staffenberg.
Yeah. That's Staffenberg. That's the one.
So that would be my mindset, mate, going in. Because like the guys were saying, it will be that hard on the outside to organise anything. At least on the inside, you'd have supplies, you'd have resources, you'd have the guys, and being on the inside, mate, you know exactly what their tactics are and how they're going to run things. I wouldn't know that from the outside.
Well, you're basically getting conditioned now in this 2 weeks to become what would essentially be a corporal or a bombardier to raw recruits to help bring them along as well. You're with about 8 other ex-service personnel, all different ages, all different regiments and stuff like that, 2 of which have already disappeared over a fence and done one. After the first week, they realised what was going on and they decided to get out of there. But as you hit the end of the 2 weeks, you're allowed your first ever phone call home. And they're quite open. You have to use this specific phone. So it's a landline that obviously they're going to be listening into. So you call back, you call Mrs. Bombardier, and she fills you in on everything that's going on, and she says, it's crazy. There's people going nuts. There's people trying to attack police stations and stuff like that, and she's really worried. So
I would you instantly know that listening to you. So I would just play up to the fact that I knew they were listening. And it would be a case of, look, they've taught us how to deal with this. I'll be back home, lead the unit back at home soon. It'll all stop once we're there. And I would just play up because I knew exactly the listening on the phone. And I would just say, mate, what they wanted to hear. Okay. I would be full on, mate, MI6 mode.
Right.
I would be full on UKP and spy.
That's what you're saying.
Hopefully you didn't get posted somewhere else in the UK.
Well, this is unfortunately, Alan. Stop spoilers, Alan. Spoilers. Ruining it.
It's like the end goal is the same, irrelevant of where I'm based in the UK.
Right.
The goal is still going to be the same.
Okay, so funnily enough, you do get orders through that say you'll be stationed down by Portsmouth.
Fucking all this shithole.
Yeah. It's a permanent posting, and after the first year, they can consider your family moving down there. But in the first year, you're just in barracks down there, and it's a full year term away from everything. So that's left on your lap, and you can decide what you're going to do with that. For you other gentlemen, how does the curfew affect your plans, and what are you doing now? Like Alan's resistance and Brian's non-resistance hiding in a hole. So, Alan, how's the curfew affect any sort of plans to start a resistance or help a resistance or get involved with it?
Well, it makes it a lot easier for the authorities to identify resistances because all they have to do is, literally anybody that's out past the curfew time must be part of something, if that's the way they put it. So I suppose the only way around curfews would be to identify people who are in those key positions, those jobs, the key worker jobs and things like that, the night shift jobs and stuff. So hopefully you would be part of that in some way. But you would just have to get around it somehow, and you would probably now have like a bit of an underground, not literally underground, but a bit of a system in place where you can try and get around this whatever surveillance they've got and have meeting places and all this kind of stuff.
So are you taking lead in organising that or scouting that out?
I don't know if I would take lead in it. If there was somebody who was...
Hang on a minute, I thought you were the leader. You can't be the leader and not take the lead.
Starting to sound a bit dodgy now, so I'd probably take a step back, let Brian take over.
Self-preservation's kicked in.
Yeah. Suddenly I'm
the
feeling
tiger outside.
But yeah, I mean, if there was no leadership there, but a bit of a willing of trusted people, then yeah, I would take some sort of lead in saying like, this is how we're going to do this. This is where we're going to meet. These are the keywords. These are our escape routes if something happens, or if we think somebody's been infiltrated or whatever. Because we'd be trying to get information now. There'd be a complete information blockage now. Nobody would know what the hell was going on. we would be relying on people like Andy to feed us information. But even
he's not doing fuck all to get it out there at the moment.
I'm too busy.
Just
I'm too
enjoying his training.
I'm too busy on my double rations.
Yeah.
He's on the Men in Black shooting range, just aiming for the little girl with the physics book.
To be fair, mate, set me in Portsmouth. That means I've got my Swarm and polonium in zone 2. So I'd be all right.
But they have no idea you've even joined up, Andy. You've told nobody.
Well, I'd
Brian.
tell them that, wouldn't I? 'Cause I'd know.
Well, we'll get to that. How are you going to do this? Brian, the curfew, you said it doesn't affect you. You have your slippers on and stuff like that. But is it affecting now? Because you're seeing this coming into place, you're starting to see people kicking off, right? What you expect. People protested it, people refusing to do it, odd sporadic noises of gunfire in the distance every so often and a few screams, etc. What's changing for you? What's your plan right now?
Nothing, because there's no realistic option to do anything at the moment. So unfortunately, there's no stability yet either way. So there's no chance to influence. All there is a chance for bad things to happen to me and my family at this point. So it's watching to see. You're saying there's been some protests, there's been some gunfire. Okay, let's see the strength of feeling with the protests. Do they get any mass? Do they get any bollocks to do anything? Is there a realistic chance on the left? And I mentioned gunfire. So that's another example that I don't want to be outside, right? I'm too chunky to flee. I'm a bullet magnet. I'll get capped in the first night. So I'm staying in the house with a big slipper on my throne of Pepsi Max, charging folks' power banks for them.
Okay. Breaking news. I had to do it, sorry. Andy, change of plans. Orders rescinded. You're not going to Portsmouth. Lucky you. Lucky Miss Worm. Basically, these riots are starting to kick off everywhere now. And they've turned around to you and said, right, new agenda. We're fast tracking all the new recruits. Instead of the months of training we wanted to give them, we've got 2 weeks to turn them into somebody who can sort a crowd out and shoot if needs to, and without second thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's your new task. That's what you're ascended to. So this starts in the next few days, and they're starting to be bussed in and stuff like that to your location. What are you doing right now? Are you doing anything to help the cause, Andy?
Is this a? I'm assuming I have my own section. Is this what it's for?
Yes, you and one other previous serving squaddy.
Well, I would do something to get him out. I wouldn't have him. I would just want it. I wouldn't want it to be. I would work a way where it would just be me with my section. I wouldn't have another guy with me.
Is that you're joint on this, and he seems like he's very party orientated.
Well, then, if I'm the full screw, he's not going to be a full screw, is he? He's not going to be a bombardier. What's he going to be? A lance jack or a private?
He's not even artillery. He's just a.
Oh, there you go.
He used to be a staff. He used to be a staff sergeant. He used to be a staff.
Okay, what he used to be. It's what he is now. so if I'm
right now in the one party, he's the same rank as you. Yeah. You have it together.
Well, I'll tell you what, right, mate. If he's below me in rank, nobody in the world, mate, right, turns down leave. So I would say just go and do your own thing for a week, and nobody's turning that down. And if he's a staff sergeant, he definitely ain't involved because he's a senior NCO. so those 8 or 12 lads that I had as a section, I would teach them and train them to be using to fine rifle would be the last option. Yeah, and I would have it based in the fact of I've been to Afghan. I know what the score is, lads. When this does kick off, and because it's going to be me, mate, taking the brunt of the decision, I would say our section is staying at the back. Irrelevant of what any of the other guys
massive
say.
Risk because you're being monitored during this training as well. Don't forget.
Well, it's a risk you're going to have to take, mate, isn't it?
Okay.
And you're going to have to. And the way I would frame it would be if you have them do this from the initial start, you're not going to have them for long, because taking out the friends and family is not going to be a pleasant thing, and they're going to break at some point. That would be my my road to that. But anyway, so if I'm a full screw, I would then be at some point being able to get out of the barracks and go somewhere for some reason, because you're going to have to eventually leave at some point, and then I will go for the cash, and then I'll be getting in touch with you guys and saying this is what the score is,
right?
And I would be writing down, and the way around that bit would be I would be writing down the tactics of what we're being taught. 'Cause ultimately, I'm going to have to be taught Anna before I teach the new lads coming through. So I would write down everything that was being taught tactic wise, and if anybody asked me why we're doing it, I believe, well, that's how we did it in the old days. That's how I used to do it. You have to have stuff written down your notepad.
Fair enough. At least you've gone out and tried to get words to us and stuff.
Yeah, and then so that's what we'd do, mate. I would write it all down. I would keep it in the cache, and I would let you guys know where the cache was, so you could then at least go and retrieve it and say, look, this is what the tactics are. This is what they're going to do at this checkpoint. This is what they're going to do here. They're going to funnel you here. It's going to be X, Y, Z. So that's what I would do once I'd start to train people.
I'd be like this on the phone. Andy, bad news. I sold out Mike for 2 cans of Pepsi.
You're next. Right, so riots are kicking off all over the place, and you're right, people are just not tolerating this. The curfew is kind of a final straw for that. Riots are being put down with lethal force, though. They're not being tolerated at all. It's getting absolutely... It's becoming chaos out there. People are fear for going for shopping or anything like that. And obviously the media's on top of it, and you're starting to see it everywhere.
Riots have broken out all across the UK in response to the new curfew. So far, government forces have controlled the situation using lethal force. The so-called UKPN resistance is nothing but a folktale, say government officials. Citizens should report anything related to this.
Citizens of the UK, stand up, resist. This is the UKPN, the voice of the resistance.
Dramatic. So that happened on national news. Obviously, my IT skills have improved. At the same time, key members, the 3 of you being involved in that, and, well, not you, Andy, but Mrs. Bombardier receives a message through to the phone from no number saying, the 5th of the 11th, 32, lights out, you make it happen. Stand up.
No, she's not doing that.
So, how are you interpreting? How are you interpreting that? So that's all the information you've got at this stage. That's all the information. So
the instant come up that somebody's trying to flush me out.
Okay, that's your thoughts on that. Brian, what's your thoughts at this stage? What do you think that means?
Could be for anybody. It could be testing your loyalty, or it could be legit trying to incite trouble. Viva la revolution. So I would just reply back saying either, what are you wearing? Or, I'm going to bed. It's too late. It's past my curfew.
The reply
Possibly both.
The reply does not get delivered.
I would ignore it and watch and see.
Help, Brian! Damn you! Help, Alan. Well, how do you interpret that as part of a plan?
Well, at least I know there's a date. There's a date of something. I don't know what the date, what it is, but at least I've got something to work to. First thing I would do, I wouldn't try to reply to a message like that, and I would immediately delete a message like that. But I would keep note of the date. What I would be doing just now, though, is looking for escape plans. So I'd be looking for an escape plan for my family as in another country to claim asylum, to get out of Dodge before something takes place. Kind of like, people did in Nazi Germany in the 30s, where they realized something was happening and they started getting on trains and planes, just going anywhere. And the second they got there, they claimed asylum. So that's what I'd be looking to do for like my immediate family. I would also be thinking about my bug out locations and where the hell I could go should the authorities come knocking at my door. And I would maybe start thinking about sleeping somewhere different as well. And given the pretense that I was still at home is a bit of an early warning, but I'd be getting ready because I would want to be part of some sort of resistance,
Right. Okay. And okay, that's how you've interpreted that. That's fine. Brian, you look like you're going to jump in and say something before I went to Alan. Go on. What's
the rest of the world saying about this?
Good point. Good point. So the first port of call is Discord, and you go into the different zones, and people are talking about what they can do. And someone who lives near some power plants and stuff like that are talking about doing sabotage on that specific date, because they read lights out, and the message, they read, you make it happen as an order, lights out as do something about the power, and stand up is the start of it all. So basically they're talking about attacking the infrastructure and the power system and stuff as a
and that's
big
an easy one.
And just as you're reading this, the Discord disappears. And as it disappears, you're left with a black screen with one party access denied screen. And Discord is no more. Is no more.
In fact, mate,
bug out.
If I got that, I would take that text to my superiors and say, this what my partner's just received.
You haven't seen it, Andy. You haven't seen it because you don't have your phone. You're not allowed it.
Oh, well, what are you asking me about me for then?
I was just seeing how you interpreted it, how the Mrs. Bombardier would interpret it.
All right.
I suppose would you tell your superiors?
You're part of the problem now, Andy. You've made your bed. Sorry, Alan, go on.
Look, would you tell your superiors that your missus received the message if you were passing letters or something?
Well, Andy has his phone call with Mrs. Bombardier, and she tells him what's happened, and what she's seen on the news.
Some guy called Hawkins sent me this text message and a picture of a small penis.
I'd be like, actually, it doesn't leave too far from here. We'll just go.
He is going to slap the shit out of me at the next prepper meet.
Right, Andy, you managed to get out to your cache at the same time, and you all get Meshtastic message on a private Meshtastic network from me, myself, saying, this is the plan.
I'm on another kid.
Yeah. She's pregnant. Oh, wrong group. Sorry. No, you get a message from me basically saying zones are coming together now. We're going to go for the infrastructure. If they've got no power, then they can't get this messaging out. Riots are already happened. It's already at breaking point, and we think we need to trigger it. And that's the way we're going to do it, by taking out the grid. And that's the message through the secure Meshtastic network directly from me that you've all seen. Because you didn't interpret the text message the way I wanted you to. So, Brian, are you going to do your bit?
Yes, I'll help at that point. So you want the power grid taken down?
Yeah. So how are you going to do this? Is it going to be physical? Is it going to be digital? Is it going to be a group here with spray paints and scooters?
It would be physical and relatively easy. But I'm loath to say, even in a hypothetical situation, because it could be used and acted on in a bad way. But yes, I would help, and it would be practical.
Right. So you're going to get together with a group, the people you know closest, and take practical action on this date, yeah?
On the infrastructure, yeah, to help with the power grid go down.
Cool. Alan, what are you at this stage? How's Daddy of Zone 7 gonna take the message from the text message and the Meshtastic one from Mike?
Yeah, I think probably just like Brian, I would get involved at this point as well. It would have to be physical for me because I haven't got the technical ability to do anything other than that. Whether that be, I don't know, just driving a vehicle into some sort of power infrastructure or cutting down poles or something. There would be something there. I've never actually ever looked into exactly how you take a power grid down, but I think between the zones there would probably be people that do know how to do it.
You can take a power grid down by pushing net zero agenda. I'm just throwing that out there.
Unfortunately, it's scarily easy.
Yeah, it is scarily easy. That's the unfortunate thing. But Alan, you're taking action. You're getting the group together. You're going out. Are you going to go on the date that was said on the message? November the 5th?
Yeah, I think so, because that would have the most impact and the least. If you do something collectively like that, then it's far harder for everybody to be infiltrated at the same time. Some people would get caught, some people wouldn't. So yeah. I would do it on that date.
Right, Andy, with this new information, whether you act or not, you know this is going to happen, and it's going to be absolute chaos, and the power's going to go down where your missus is, and she's on her own at that stage. What are you're at the cache, you're outside of the base, you could decide to make a move right now. What's based on this information now, what's your plan?
I'm going back and I'm going to tell them that you're going to hit the power grid.
Fucking super grass there.
Have you ever seen? And do you know why I would do that, mate? Have you ever seen the film The Imitation Game with Alan Turing and they decipher the Enigma machine?
Yeah.
And once they've decoded it, they have to let people and things happen, because if they don't, the Germans will know they've decoded Enigma. That's exactly the position I would be in. I have to give them something to get further up the pole.
I'm just wondering.
Position of power.
I just at that stage for me, I don't think I'd have gone back. I'd have left that cash and used that to get home to my family. That's the only reason I was asking.
You're a wanted man at that point, though.
How long are they going to stay? How long are they going to stay in charge once the grid's down?
Well, they would just go turbo, wouldn't they? So if you think things are bad now, it would get even worse once the grid went down. They're not just going to roll over and say the guys have done it. We're beat. Get some new guys in. They're going to roll. They're going to roll, and everything's going to be worse, and everything's going to be accelerated.
They're going to attempt to. They're going to attempt to hang on to power and stuff like that. Yeah.
So like Alan said, some are going to be successful, some are going to get captured, and unfortunately, the ones who need me get captured because I just grass them up.
They're tiger food for sure.
In the hopes of getting promoted, mate, and working your way further up. So down the line.
So commissars there, Andy. How did you come about this information?
I would say I've got a CI in Harrogate who's telling me stuff.
Who is he?
I'm not telling him.
It's against the party. If you don't tell us, you'll be subject to capital punishment.
I'm like, all right, it's that guy in that house there. And I'm like, before you go there, he's obviously going to say he's not CI. And then knock on the door. Are you Andy CI? Because I'm not. Boom, gone. There you go.
I think.
I
feel like in this scenario, Andy's already died. He's been executed.
I'll get Big Daddy here. I'll get Big Daddy of Zone 7, right? He's looking to be El Presidente of the resistance. I've got Andy. He's Commissar Gaunt. He's climbing the pole on the pretext of for the greater good, but he's killing everybody wholesale to get there, feeding it with the fucking tigers. And meanwhile, I'm doing the first nefarious. I've got my slippers on in a field doing my first nefarious deed, and he shopped me. Fuck! I should have stuck to my slipper.
I mean, this is not quite going how I expected it to go.
Yeah, but
no shit, mate.
It's the same thing, though, mate. When you're at war, there's an acceptable rate of casualties, and there's an acceptable rate of people that you will to expend. That's just standard.
This is the UKPN that's acting on this, Andy. Everyone you had to come. I know Hawkins. Hawkins, you're quite happy to grass on, but you're throwing us all under the bus, mate.
No, I wouldn't be throwing you.
To him in day one.
You'd be on baby 36 or wherever you are. Brian would get there with sitting on his throne of power banks, and Alan would be out canoeing somewhere in the wilderness, so nobody would be able to find him. So you would be all right. The main core would be all right. Just expendable people would be gone.
Right.
I think it's like, Andy, you've kind of fell into the trap of, like, see, you get these FBI agents who are undercover, and they don't want to break their cover because they're 5 years in, but they're going to have to let this drug deal go down or this guy get whacked.
Right.
It's like, how far could you go with it before you blow your cover?
Right.
I'm all in.
So 3 days later is November the 5th, and you are all acting upon it. Andy is in a small dark room being interrogated because they don't believe a word he's saying. So they've not upped the security on anything, and you're all out and you're doing your bit, and it's starting to happen all up and down the country.
Good evening. It's the 5th of December at 6 p.m. The headlines are word of multiple. Attacks on power substations across the country. The so-called resistance needs to stop immediately or risk plunging the UK into the Dark Ages, as any further damage could be unrecoverable. A spokesperson from the one party has been quoted in saying,
Sit. Power's gone. Power's gone. Well done, Alan and Brian. You've done your bit. And Scotland's in darkness. I know most of you are on candles up there anyway, north of the wall, but you know, the little electric you have is gone. We'll talk about polar opposites of Scotland there. Brian's got enough power to charge the country, and Alan's sat there with a candle. The power's gone. Complete disarray going on, as we've seen with many realistic scenarios throughout the world. It's gone from riots protesting about curfews to full-on, let's just loot everything, let's smash it up. Civilians are managing to disarm and take weapons off some of these police, and they're fighting back. There's literally fighting in the streets. Cities are definitely a no-go area. So we're not going to go into a full blackout scenario because we've done it before. So if you want to follow on from this, go and watch that one. Yay! See how I did that. But Brian, at this stage, you've been successful. You've got a group of 7 or 8 preppers with you that are all, high-fiving at this moment. Is that now the start of your mag? Do you all go back to your own individual homes, or is that a good point now to come together and band together for what's coming?
I wouldn't have a home to go back to at that point, because if I'm going down this path, then my family would have been scattered for their own safety, and there's no point going home because I don't know if it's even safe anymore. So if you're on this particular path, you're stuck on it one way or another. So they would have to be my new family until it's done.
There you go. Alan, are you sticking with these people that have just achieved this wonderful feat with you, or are you going back home, sending them on the way? What's the plan now to...
Well, I think you're all in now. I mean, you're fully committed to it now. There's no... What would be the point of attacking the power grid and then going back to normality? Because they'll just fix the power grid eventually. So this would now be part of a bigger resistance. Whether I would go home or not, it would depend on whether I'd been identified. So I would be in hyper sort of vigilant mode at this point to see if the authorities knew who I was, because hopefully I'd still be kind of a little bit incognito. But if I thought they knew who I was, then yeah, I wouldn't go home either, because I'd be under surveillance. If I didn't think that, I would maybe go back and forth. But like I said before, I'd be doing everything now to try and get my family out of there anyway. Hopefully we wouldn't be trapped, and there would be places to send them. But not going home is as much as an indicator that you're involved in something anyway, because your neighbours are suddenly saying, where's he went? Ever since the power grid went down, this guy's just disappeared. And when the authorities are doing their investigations, that's the kind of things they'll pick up on. Who was acting abnormal, who's not came back, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, getting the grid back up and running is not something that's going to happen anytime soon. There happened to have been a war going on in the years before, the Great Canadian-USA War, where we'd sent all our spare parts and everything like that over there. So there's just nothing here left anymore to repair it if it does go down. Coincidence, I know. Andy, on base, there's a contingency for this. They know exactly what they're doing. All the officers know exactly what they're doing. It's a bit chaotic at first. Plenty of backup lights and batteries and stuff like that. And basically, the protocol at this stage is they are going to load you all onto trucks, and everyone's heading to London. And London is the be-all and end-all at this stage, and they're pretty much closing down all northern bases, and they're sending everyone to London to be part of this Bastille down there.
I think
there's lads jumping ship, there's lads not turning up, there's lads doing a runner. You've got 2 or 3 days before these trucks arrive, because the logistics have to get up there and stuff like that. So what's your plan here?
I think at this point, mate, if you'd actually been successful and you had managed to take the grid out, I would then play my hand and I would go all in. So I would take my 12 lads and say, look, this is the score, this is what they're doing. We're going to take the country back. And I would take the camp back, and I would start with my 12 lads and work through. And I would go tent to tent and say, "Look, do you really want to be hurting your mum, your dad, your gran, your sister? This is the only way we." And the people who said, "No, we're all for the one pie," and they'd be gone. And I would just work through the tents like that. and you would get to a point where you'd have enough people who are all on the same side. You'd be like, right, now we are going to start pushing out. And then from Harrogate, you could then push out, and you would have all the decent guys, all the normal guys. You push out from there, because like Alan said, there's no point taking out the power grid and then just sitting back. You've done the main thing, because once you've done that, mate, it affects comms, it affects everything. It's such a knock-on effect that I would have to go all in, and I would have to show my hand then and say, look, this is the only chance, and we've got to go now. And all the guys who were like, no, I want to be on double rations, are like, poof, you're gone, and I'd just go like that way, and I'd switch.
There you go. So, I mean, we're going to end it there. That is where we're ending it, because we would end up forming a whole army and taking over the country, I have no doubts. And Andy's leading the military, and Alan's got a band of wildlings calling him
Zone 7 would have blue paint by this point. We'd be marching towards London, you know.
We'd all have face paint like a tiger.
And this whole time I've just been recording footage, so I'm just sat there editing all the YouTube videos that will go back up eventually when the grid comes back on.
And you've got triplets on your lap.
And you got triplets on your lap. Right. I mean, that's pretty much it for the scenario. So you can break character now. Andy's raising his army. Alan's the daddy. Brian's done his first nefarious thing, and he's feeling slightly guilty about it.
Anybody watching this back in any position of authority is going to go, right, Alan's reenacting Scum, right, from the very first of the movie. Brian's not getting near any of the substations. Andy's slotted half his section, and Mike's been the ringleader at all. This is not going to look good.
It's not going to look good. It's not going to look good. But look, don't forget the disclaimer. This is all theoretical. It and stuff like that.
Hey, it'd make a good movie, you know. It'd make a good movie for that Days Ahead guy.
It felt like making a movie, editing all them clips and making AI people and stuff like that. You know, this stream cost me £30 to get a subscription to do all that. So I hope you appreciate it. £2 less now because of the comment. Leanne Mack said that island for sale off the coast of Cornwall is looking more appealing. Anyone got 3 mil going spare? And Mark did mention before pigeon called Jim. Yes,
spotted speckled Jim.
Speckled Jim. Yes, we shot him and ate him. Love a bit of Blackadder. I hope you guys in the chat enjoyed that bit of a play sort of thing of the situation. Andy definitely threw a spanner in my works by just joining up and conforming and becoming the new commissar of the North. But it's all good. That's why we do it. Taking it back to reality now in seriousness and stuff like that. I think personally the likelihood of this ever getting to a stage like this is not something I generally prep for. You would keep an eye on the news, you'd keep an eye on the warning signs and stuff like that, and you would act very quickly. And the biggest thing with that is probably networking and information and talking to people, which is what we're all about. So, I mean, Brian, realistic scenario, unrealistic scenario, the people wouldn't tolerate it, right?
It's the boiling frog again. That's what you're looking at and talking about. It's the boiling frog. This wouldn't happen overnight. This would happen a slow erosion of civil liberties over time. For example, facial recognition to help everybody being brought in across the country. Almost like now, cash being demonized and taken out the shop so you've got more of a digital footprint.
Any
Just
similarities
like
or resemblances to people living or dead are purely coincidental. This was a completely fictional scenario.
Manipulation and rigging of the voting system. Where have we heard this one before? So that's when we were speaking the other night about politics, and I know some people get annoyed about these kind of scenarios, or if politics and prepping merge. Please don't be annoyed, because have a think about it. Whoever's in a position of power for 4 years, 10 years, whatever, their actions and choices will affect our future. Whether it's how they invest in power, nuclear, wind, or whatever, it'll affect in your available spend. It'll affect how likely your lights are to go out. General taxation, your pension, all these things will affect your preps, short, medium, and long term. So whilst politics is boring, it's just something to be aware of because it shapes the world that we live in and the country that we live in as well. So I know it gets people bent out of shape sometimes. It's not intended to. It's just that, like every other thing, bad weather affects your preps. So does politics, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Stick around, guys. We're going to do the wheel draw for the bug out bag. Sales have closed. You can't buy a ticket now, so any donations you put in now will go straight to the charity, but you will not be added into the draw. So stick around for that. Alan, how realistic of a scenario would you feel this was?
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
I don't think it's impossible. And like Brian says, I think the slow creep of totalitarianism or authoritarianism is always present. And I think that is present even in the UK today. So it's just a case of being vigilant of that and being mindful of history and trying to resist it politically as much as we can, because there will just be this never-ending creep of taking away things like freedom of speech, or even we do it. Even in these chats, we self-censor ourselves to say things, even though we know that we say things jokingly, yet we still do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And that in itself is already a little bit of our liberty taken away from us. So I think as preppers, you can't prep for everything. So this isn't something I would specifically prep for, but if you have a foresight as to what's going on because you're involved in this kind of discussion, you're viewing the landscape, hopefully you'll get a little bit of you'll be able to see it coming, and then you can improvise and adapt your preps or your thinking based on what you think's coming, because that's kind of how I do it. If I thought there was going to be a Noah's flood tomorrow, that's what I would start preparing for. I'm not going to waste time preparing for a meteorite. It's you're going to move in that direction, but
foresight would be nice. Yeah, foresight would be nice, but Noah, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark, so it's good to know what's coming, but we don't always. Andy, how realistic the scenario to this day and age? I don't think the people would tolerate it to get that far personally, but what's your thoughts on something like that?
No, I don't think it would, mate. And I only said I would join in that thing, mate, just for the crack,
just to mess me up. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. To be fair, mate, I didn't know whether it would mess you up. But
it was interesting because it gave a different spin. So I like it.
I've already spoke to a Pat mate before, and when they got about conscription before, I'll just go to jail.
Yeah.
I won't be fighting for them. And I would probably say, mate, probably 95% of lads who I served with, who are no longer serving now, we're just civvies, would do the same. They've all said we'd just go to jail and wouldn't fight. So there would be
do you think that incentive of like 1.5 or 2 times your current salary, whatever it is, would be enough? No,
it wouldn't, mate, because you've spent your entire military career being lied to and promised stuff that never happened.
Yeah.
So whatever they promise you, you instantly would think that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're just not going to give me it. And then instantly, mate, you would join it, be like, well, we'll give you that 1.5 times you pay, but it's going to be backdated to 2042, and you'd be like, go get fucked.
Yeah.
And you would just know, mate, that's what the situation would be. That half rations, that double rations, what they would do is they would take it down to quarter rations, then double it, so you'd get half rations. That's all it would be. Yeah. And every single lad who'd ever served would know that would be the case. So no one, mate, would go. I genuinely believe wholeheartedly no one would go, and you would just have the horrible, shitty people would go for the obvious reasons, and you would have a larger resistance than what was portrayed in this, because I fucked up for you.
Yeah. No, I like it. Made me think on my feet. Right, down to the important matters. The wheel
of fortune.
This is for the bug out bag, which was kindly donated by Lee from the bug out. All your prepping supplies, everything like that, at really, really good prices at the bug out. So check that out. Over £250 worth of stuff sat here, boxed up, ready to go to our lucky winner. 49 entries. So my quick math says that's £245, I think, extra into the pot.
I'll give you. I'll donate a tenner to the cause if you take Hawkins out.
I won't do it. I can't do it. But it's closed now. You can't get a ticket anymore, but I am doing the cycle. It's only a week away. Yes, I know, you can tell because I'm such in great physical athletic shape. I know, I'm dreading it as well. But we did 260 odd miles now. It is 2 national cycle routes all the way up to mid of Scotland, towing everything on my trailer, all for Help for Heroes. You guys have been awesome. We've raised so much. I need to add it all up, and I'll do an update video soon. On Just Giving alone, we're up to 1,227, which smashed last year's target anyway, but all the extras as well. We well surpassed £2,000. That's why I ended up waxed. So I'll tally everything up and see what's been sent over and stuff, and I'll give you an update soon. But without further procrastination, let's spin the wheel because you're getting impatient. I have no control over this. It's completely random using spinthewheel.io. Names have been randomized. Here we go.
No Hawkins, no Hawkins, no Hawkins.
Send me my bag.
How many winners is the Mike?
One winner. One winner.
Oh, just one wins it all?
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking hell. If I knew that would have entered.
I've already told you about 100 times. You're all right. I've done a test run on this wheel. It takes a while, so don't get excited. It slows down quite a lot.
That's all right. It's well away from Hawkins. Well, I didn't see him there.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Is it going to go to Haley?
Oh.
Oh. That might move again. Oh, no.
Right.
Oh.
Who's Brian M?
There you go. Brian M. If you know who Brian is, it might be a different username. I've got the details of who everyone is, so I'll be in touch. If you are on the chat and you know that's you.
Oh,
no
it's
other
my
Brian
alias. Just send it, Mike.
It's definitely not Brian. He's got Scottish Prepper 73 on there, but congratulations, Brian. If you want to shout out, if you are in the chat, that's me. That'd be great. But you have won over £250 worth of bug out goodies. Very jealous of you at this moment, so I'll try and be in touch, or if you could email me, ukurbanprepper@gmail.com, let me know the address and stuff, and we'll get that sent straight out to you. So there we go. Done. Thank you very much for everyone that donated. It was for a good cause at the end of the day, so thank you for that. Still 140 people in here quickly. Andy, you're not going to do it, but do you want to tell them about your channel at all?
I'll tell them about the other one.
Go on.
Because the other one's cooler. So my other one, Shadows of the Titans, is all about UFOs, paranormal, ghosts, high strain, just all the weird stuff that I've experienced and all the stories that I've heard, and all the stories, including some stuff I saw during my military career, and then obviously a lot of stuff outside of that. And me and Brian are going to do a live on Thursday, all about UFOs and all that type of stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah, head over there if you're interested in that type of stuff, guys.
Definitely. Alan, can you tell us about the World Survivalist, please?
So World Survivalist YouTube channel. It's a channel primarily focused on wilderness, solo camping, wild camping, kit reviews, survivalish type techniques and things like that. I'm going to start doing a little bit more prep orientated videos at some point soon. I'm starting to put some of that stuff together as well. So it's really just a wilderness focused channel. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Norfolk's looking forward to the unidentified flying ostriches, Andy. Brian, tell us all about Scottish Prepper 73. If you're still going, that is. If you've not had enough of the trolls.
Do you know, I'm not. Will I start on the trolls? Fuck them. No, it's not even worth their time. It just gets you down sometimes when you get constant barrage of shit. So I tend to concentrate on things that interest me, which is generally power related. I concentrate on things that's going on in the world and how it would affect me, and I prep on that basis. But I tend to have a slant on power, purely because having available power makes your life so much easier. So if the grid goes down, albeit for a day or two, then having some means to turn the lights on and charge your phone makes your life a bit easier. So that tends to be what I concentrate on as a rule.
Excellent. Excellent. So make sure you go and subscribe to all of these guys' channels. They give up their time to do these scenarios, to talk about prepping, to do anything you guys want to see. We all get involved together and talk about it. None of us are experts. I'm sure we all have expertise in certain fields, but none of us are experts. We're all here to learn as well. My channel is all about bringing the community together and sharing this knowledge and learning myself. So keep that in mind. No one's preaching everything to you, and we're here willing to learn as well. Big thank you to Miss Worm. If you are interested in having a break from prepping, just hearing somebody read you a lovely scary story, make sure you go and check out her channel, which is Miss Worm. I'll play the advert. Why not? There you go, Chief Mod Miss Worm and her awesome team of moderators, all of them helping out. Could not do it without them, so thank you very much to them. And of course, the awesome voiceover work that you heard at the very start, which I'm sure you can hire her for if you need to. Brian, don't even think of hiring her for something you want voices over for. It's just not going to happen.
I've got needs, right? Doesn't make me a bad person.
Thank you everyone for joining us. I'll update you on the charity soon. I'll do a live stream regarding the new route and stuff like that. What time's your live stream on Thursday, Andy?
I don't know, mate. I'll put something on Discord. I'll shout something out when I organise it with Brian.
All right, whatever time he decides, I'll do my live stream at the same time. No, no, just stay tuned to the channel, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you everybody, and we'll see you in another one. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
In the glow of embers dance, we've prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue. Prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue.
I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian and so's my wife! Right, take him away and release him. No, I'm only joking. I'm not really Brian.